The summer update is coming. There is a ton of content. Let's go over everything. There will be a maintenance day, so make sure you get all your stuff done before that happens. Boom Year's coming out. We already went over her. Looks very, very strong. Looks very, very good. And looks very, very good. So for the special side story, this one actually lasts really, really long. It lasts for 6 weeks. Normally they only last 4. 6 weeks means probably an extended story and also maybe just extra like content stuff to do. The content for this one though is they're calling it Secret Summer, but it's Gals Panic, like we went over. Arcade game from like 20, 30 years ago. Very, very fun though. And we have 15 stages, 3 stages unlocked each week. It looks like there's a normal and hard difficulty, so that should be 30 stages total. And you can see here, there is a thing where you can see all of your unlocked artworks already. There's a couple questions I have about this, but first let's take a look at who is here. We have Abe, Requiem, Rowana, Disciplinary Prefect Arya, Eye of the Abyss Fumir. We have Hellion Lua and Flan. Then 3 people down here that I do not recognize. Like, I can't tell who any of these are. This one looks like Leica to me, and then I don't know who these 2 are, but we'll find out. And there's going to be like 9 more besides the ones shown here. Normal and hard difficulty, I wonder if it's probably too much work for them to do it, but I wonder if the image will change from normal to hard difficulty. Some of you guys who've seen my previous video might know what I mean by that, but they're probably not doing that. So for the controls, we'll go over this more later, but basically, it's just Gals Panic. You unlock whatever area, try to not get hit by stuff. One of the funny stuff is getting hit by mortar crozets transfers you to a special separate stage. The way this worked in the game is it takes you to a separate stage with like a different thing as the background. At least that's what I did in the first one. I didn't play the second one. I did 1 and 3. But it would be very funny if we got like a mort background to unlock. Yeah, I'm very down for like, you know, like bikini mort or whatever in the background would be kind of funny. Crozet, not so much though. So you can continue if you die, but I don't think... I think if you just play it safe, you'll probably be fine. They give you a pretty generous timer to work with, and of course we will have a guide out for this later. So you get a bunch of items here, this doesn't really matter. But I guess the only one that matters is the restored change subject. It's just if you hit more Crozet, you'll want to unlock on this item to swap back to the actual person. So we have the Lucky Dash, which is just an additional event on top of the Epic Dash. This isn't replacing the Epic Dash or anything. You use the energy drinks to move forward, and there's not too much to say about this. There's just a bunch of free gear in here, pretty much. And you get the energy drinks by just doing dailies. It's just another daily event. You get a bunch of rewards for it. And then eventually you're going to cap out your rewards. So you just start getting repeat rewards. I think everybody should be able to just get all of the stuff, pretty much. And you have a couple of special functions. This doesn't really matter too much. It's just, yeah. And there's weekly rankings. No one really cares. So I have the Abyss Fumir, of course. And then we have the coin shop renewal. It's a pretty bad rotation. So Leica says in Elwanav, if you want imprints for your Imperial Elwanav, you can get it here, I guess. And this doesn't really matter. This doesn't really matter for Architect, I guess. ML5 rotation, there's no new hero, so if you were waiting for the new hero to rotate in, you were not getting it. Useless, useless, and useless. You don't really have to bother summoning for this. The only consideration would be if you want Teo now, you might want to summon for him. You do have like a week or so of the ML5 event, and maybe you hit some dupes, because you'll be getting quite a few galaxy coins from the Epic Dash. It's just a little bit RNG for how many you get. Seasonal battle content rotation, we're going to have Hall of Trials, Automaton Tower, and Advent. Yippee, Hall of Trials is back. Advent should probably be the same as last time. Didn't really change it much these days, and Automaton Tower is boring, but we'll have it. Hall of Trials mildly interesting because I don't know how they're going to do a Fumir rotation. I've been thinking that it's probably going to be maybe a Ludwig rotation. It's just because Fumir's kit is like... it's too specific, right? Like, her S2 is really generic, and then her S3 is, like, PvP only. So, we'll see what they do. Will be interesting. Maybe they just don't do a Fumir rotation, do, like, a random unit again. World Arena ending. We've known this for quite a while, but it ends in July 11th. That is like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So you might want to start climbing now because you don't want to be queuing at the very, very end trying to make it. But you get the LNF skin for your troubles. And then there's a bunch of QOL stuff in here, which has been, some of it's been like, this is an issue that's been here for over a year. But finally, because before the Ice Elemental Summon would kind of lock you out, you got your 5 element bookmarks on 36, and then you would finish it. Some people would use their Ice Element summon. You go to 37, it tells you to do an element summon, and then you don't have your element bookmarks anymore, and you have to either buy it from Guild Shop or push all the way through the entire tree of Genesis, which was not very fun. This one, the episode cleared thing, I think it's just because I'd assume you can do the episodes like some of the other episodes not like in order anymore. Like maybe you can go into the side story, like the Aki side story right after episode 2 or something, if I had to guess. So that's probably why they're doing this, but we'll see. So this is the interesting thing. I'm probably going to do a more in-depth thing on this, but the choice summon is replacing reruns entirely. It's not based on story summon anymore, but now you can just pick any hero that's been released after a certain point, and then you can rerun them, basically. So this is nice because there's some characters that Ravi didn't have a side story, and you just aren't able to get their story summon, especially some of the newer characters too, like don't have one. So this fixes that issue. It didn't even really have to start complaining about it because it's been pretty common for some of the most recent characters. You can also see the timer for when they'll be available here, which is very, very nice. And also because they added the reward track, which wasn't on Story Summon before, now it is on Story Summon. So that's very, very nice. Available for 14 days, and you can change the summon target after 7 days. You can pretty much have like a rerun banner, or permanently have a rerun banner open. That's great. And this will still really be for people who have like a ton of excess resources. I don't think I can really recommend going to 40 summons for an artifact for anybody who's free to play. If you have like a ton of extra powder and you really want an artifact, you could buy it in shop, but 240 summons is quite a lot. And then, what is this? Purchase limits don't matter. Voice lines added for illustrations is cool. There's a Guild War attack team copy feature. This is going to cost so many ints because a lot of like things are tuned to have very specific gear and stuff. This is a nice QOL. You won't get low-level gear anymore from Eulogy. It's just automatically powder. And then they're disabling World Arena Spectator feature because it causes a ton of lag all the way until the end of the season. So, I don't know. And then Rift Extended. So this is going all the way until the anniversary, and this, I hope this means that they're going to actually fix Rift during the anniversary, please. But the timer for of ending in like mid-July I thought was not fantastic, because I was like, they're probably not going to implement Rift fixes in the middle of July, but if they implement it on the anniversary, it would be available for the next Rift. Yippee! So hopefully that is just a thing. And then, what is this? The transfer effect from Arbiter Vildred's skill sweep was not applied to the non-critical hit target if a critical hit only applied. That's kind of funny. And then there's just some stuff down here. They fixed Slowme emoji. And then, yeah, pretty much that's it for this stuff. So nothing, like the big stuff is the Epic Dash, pretty much. And we can take another closer look at it here, because they have another post for the Epic Dash. So looks pretty much the same as before. I'll go over all of the rewards, of course, and we can compare it to the previous years. Ooh, Bean Octopus, and we get a little Abe emoji. But pretty much you just do the missions. You have your daily missions, your weekly missions, clear everything out, move to the next one. There's going to be a bunch of rewards, a bunch of selectors, and whatnot. There was the, well, there's the, we'll talk about this later, but there's like the Lucky Dash on top down here somewhere. So this is like our excess bit of rewards. I'm not sure if they just moved all the gear out of the Epic Dash and replaced it with other rewards, and we have the Lucky Dash here instead. We will see. Let's get back to the ML summons. Same as last time, 100 summons, 5 a day, and you get a 5-star ticket for light and dark. And then if you like start really late, you'll be able to use Sky Stones to do additional summons. The ones not available is everything after Diane. So that's Diane, Asaria, Noto, Salome, and Rihanna, and Luciella. And then we have the Epic Dash buff event. The way this works is during the entirety of Epic Dash, you will permanently have a buff event, pretty much. And then after that, or every like week, pretty much, we will have additional buff times as well. This will stack on top of this, which is pretty cool. And like the first one isn't like a full buff event. You'll notice the goal in EXP isn't always active, but you'll get the yeah, you'll have like permanent runes and some stuff for the on the second one where you do get the battle EXP gold increase. Notably, like the Epic Dash always has actual account XP increase, so this should be really nice, especially now that we have soul rank. This should give you your soul ranks pretty fast. We can see it's like 50% hunt, and you get an additional 20% on top. I'm not sure like how accurate some of these numbers are, just because. Okay, yeah. So here we have 10% permanently, and then 30% on, or 20% additional on part 2, so it stacks up to 30%. And yeah, I'll do another more in-depth thing on this later too. You can see the schedule here, and I'll also put this on Cecilia bot at some point. Burning passion packs, whatever. New player and returning players also have a bunch of buffs as usual. Pretty standard stuff. We already went over the Lucky Dash, and I don't think there's anything being shown here. Let's just go over the rest of the posts too. We have another web event coming in, a bunch of reliefs, some stuff in the shop. We've had a bunch of these, nothing special about it. And then also just some packs, which look kind of mediocre. It's just a bunch of summons for like the first ones. This last one potentially could be really nice though. 200 leaves and 3 reset stones could be really good depending on the price. Maybe $50. I think that's like a pretty decent price for this. Anyways, that is all of the content coming out in the next 2 months, starting after maintenance, and I'm pretty excited for some of this stuff, and I'll see you guys soon.